The Tao of Self-Confidence, episode 887. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. Visit our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits. You can now purchase The Tao of Self-Confidence, a guide to moving beyond trauma and awakening the leader within on Amazon, Barnes & Noble's, Walmart, Indigo, and other major book retailers. Get your copy today. Well, hello, friend. Welcome to The Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. I'm your host today, Sheena Yap-Chan, and today I have a lovely and amazing woman on the show today. She is the program manager for US PAC, and I'm super excited to have her on today because if you want to know how US PAC comes up with all these amazing things, she's also the brains behind it. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Thea Cruz Brown. Thea, how are you today? Maybe you can fill in a little bit more about yourself to the listeners.
Hi, Sheena. Thank you for having me here. So excited to be part of your podcast. So my name is Thea Cruz Brown. I am a program manager at US PAC. I am married. I am a dog mama. That's my family. And new immigrant in the US, pretty much.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And Thea, what's your cultural background?
Yes. So I was born and raised in the Philippines in a town called Quezon City. It's actually part of Metro Manila, but typical Filipino upbringing, very conservative, very traditional. My parents worked really hard to provide for us and raise us with discipline, very Filipino discipline. My brother and I, we actually went to Catholic schools, again, all that discipline piece in there. And then we grew up very active in the church group. So yeah, so I think one of the things that my parents really gave to us is a gift of education and going to Catholic schools. When I was out of school, I was basically in marketing. So I've always been in grassroots, below the line marketing or brand activation. I also studied at the Ateneo Graduate School of Business. So that's my background in the Philippines pretty much. And I guess as added context, in 2017, I went on vacation with my parents to the US because Filipino parents, they were panicking that I was in my 30s and I still wasn't married. So they basically got their wish granted, the man of my dreams, and got married to my husband within 5 months. But I flew back to the US in 2019. It was supposedly just a vacation, but my husband and I decided that I should just stay and I adjust my status. And that worked out really good for us because the pandemic hit. But also connected to the pandemic, my first job was actually with a community-based organization in San Diego. It was at an economically disadvantaged area. And my function there was as a small business advisor. So I helped a lot with grant applications. I did small business consultations, created programs to help underserved small businesses. So I was in that space. But early on, really when I started looking for a job, even before I landed that one, I found the US PAC website and I was sort of just waiting for an opening to apply for. And eventually when I got in, I started working as a program coordinator. Right now, really, I think just going back to how culturally connected I feel to the organization, as well as the purpose of the organization. I am a strong advocate for Asian Americans and for their Asian American business owners. My dad is a business owner himself, so I always feel connected to the mission of the organization.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And it's really great to have you as part of US PAC and everything that you do. And, it's really important to have organizations like this because it's so needed, that support, that camaraderie. That's how we can create the positive changes we want to see for our community and beyond. So thanks for sharing that. And what would be your favorite self-confidence quote?
I've always attributed this line to my very Catholic upbringing, but it has been helpful in terms of like having confidence in myself. But I take it from Philippians 4:13, which is I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. But I also like a quote that says, go confidently in the direction of your dreams, live the life you've imagined. So I think those are my top two.
Thanks for sharing those great quotes. And in your own words, how do you define self-confidence?
Yeah, so I had to do some research about courage and confidence because I feel like they're very much intertwined. Their definition is almost synonymous. And what I have learned is that courage is the first step, and pretty much confidence is the rest of the way. And I think self confidence is being consistent, being able to continuously show up and speak up, and having that innate belief in yourself that your voice actually matters.
Thanks for sharing that great definition. And Thea, what was your life like before your discovery of self-confidence?
Yeah, I think I want to connect this question more when I first immigrated here because a lot has changed from that dynamic of being new in a new space in a new area in a new country. I feel like I had to find myself and my confidence again because back home I had a good life, I had a career, I had influence in my family or in my small circle of friends, but here I had to start from scratch. So I had a lot of fears and doubts. I think one of the things that have always been, it's always crept at the back of my mind is I'm not American. My accent is different. Maybe my English is weird. I'm not used to the culture. So most of that really translated to my relationship. So I was pretty shy around other people, even my husband's family. I wouldn't really speak up too much, or even at my previous job I would just be like just part of the crowd, like I just, yeah, be quiet and just choose to keep things to myself in that sense.
I think that's, a lot of women can relate to that, especially when you migrate to a country like the US or Canada. It's like a huge culture shock, right? I mean, when you're in the Philippines, you're surrounded by Filipino people, right? And then you come here, you're like, whoa, you know, I'm like the token one, I'm like the only one. And so it's a big adjustment. And then, of course, if there's no media representation in the US or Canada, then you feel even smaller thinking like, oh, like I have to be a certain way to show up as confident or to show up as beautiful. I mean, that's how I feel growing up here too. So that's why for me, representation is so important. And, what was that point in your life when you realized like you can go out there and be who you are today? Like even, being able to apply for US PAC Wise in their program manager position. What was that aha moment that gave you the confidence?
I think really a lot of my confidence now also comes from US PAC. So I'm very thankful to our leadership, Mrs. Allen and Karen, our president, my other colleagues who really gave me the opportunity to find my voice again. I was given the trust to come up with my own ideas for programs that we have. Specifically, last year, I was given the opportunity to develop a program, and which started with a women's committee of Asian American business owners in 2019. And that's where I pitched the idea of WISE, which is a women initiative for strategic empowerment. And Mrs. Allen liked it. To me, it was a new idea of what would I want as an Asian woman, right? And as an Asian in America trying to navigate life in general. So yeah, and being used to just working in the background with Mrs. Allen actually surprising me during the launch. She called on me and talked about my contribution to the program. She made me stand up, say hi to the crowd, and it kind of really solidified something in me to say that I can do this. I can be in the same space with these people, other women, and be proud of who I am and what I can do. So likewise to the co-chairs, Doris and Carolyn, the co-chairs of WISE, they are women powerhouses as well. Every time I get to talk to them, they have been so affirming. And even just, the regular meetups with the WISE women, it's always been so affirming to be surrounded by a group of very powerful, powerful and influential women. So now that whether at work or outside of work, I feel more confident in talking to people and really not worrying about my English and just being able to own my space, contribute my thoughts boldly and proudly.
I love that story. And thank you for being the brains of US PAC Wise. Without that, we wouldn't be here today. We wouldn't be able to connect in New York City and San Francisco and coming events and just have this amazing camaraderie. Like I mentioned in the beginning, you're the brains behind it. So thank you so much. And and because of that realization, what's your life been like now?
I feel more confident in connecting with other people. I feel very fulfilled knowing that these little ideas that started, of course, instructions from leadership, like Mrs. Allen and Karen. The women's group have already been created before, but just I feel more fulfillment seeing it in fruition. Like even this moment of talking to you, it's not just a boost to my confidence, but also a great feeling of fulfillment.
Thanks for sharing that. And Thea, to the woman who's listening to your episode, she may be in her own journey to self-confidence. What'd be that one tip you'd give to her?
I think for me, just based on what had happened, my career in the US and just overall effect on my life in the US, it's really to look for people who will be good leaders and mentors. Look for a support system like Wise and not just plugging it in there, but really it's good to be surrounded by people who will believe in you. And of course, trust yourself and believe in yourself. I also like the line, we're only limited by what we believe we are capable of.
I love those tips and thanks for sharing that. And if our listeners wanted to get to know a little bit more about you and what you do, or check out some of the amazing programs that US PAC has in store, is there any links or social media profiles we can connect with?
So, of course, Wise is on LinkedIn, US PAC is on LinkedIn, as well as uspac.com for any of our upcoming programs or you're interested in finding out more about the organization. And I am also on LinkedIn as Thea Brown, MBA.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And to our listeners, if you want to connect with Thea, you can also head on over to the taoofselfconfidence.com and search for Thea's name. Her show notes will pop up along with everything else that we talked about. And I really just want to thank Thea today for taking the time to share her story with us on self-confidence. So thank you so much, Thea.
Thank you, Sheena. Thank you to everyone listening.
Not a problem. It was such an honor having you on the show. And to our listeners, be on the lookout for another new episode of another amazing woman's journey to self-confidence, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode of The Tao of Self-Confidence. You can order your copy of Asian Women Who Boss Up book by visiting our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits.